Hello, pre-algebra students. Welcome to the first day of learning where I am not present in the classroom. We should have met already on Google Meet. You should have taken your quiz. I hope that went well. And now here's today's lesson. We are covering lesson 3.6, solving one-step inequalities. This can be found in your notes folder in OneNote. If for some reason it is not there, please come back into the Google Meet and let me know. I will be there the entire time to assist you. If you have any issues with anything at any time, any questions, pop into that Google Meet and let's talk about it. You may be wondering why I am doing things this way. Just with me being at home, that's an extra layer of technology that might fail, or there might be user error. And so I feel like by creating these videos, if for some reason there's ever an issue, class can still happen and you don't fall a day behind. So also, these videos are great because you can go at your own pace. So if you need a little extra assistance, you can just watch the video all the way through like it's me there talking to you the whole time. If you feel like you understand what's going on, feel free to pause the video and work the problems that remain. I will talk about that later in the video, so please follow my cues on that. So let's dive into it. Lesson 3.6, solving one-step inequalities. Please make sure you are focused on this though. Please don't have your phone out. Don't browse the internet. Don't have the TV on. Don't be communicating with your friends. This is a 75-minute period that is designed to help you get better at math. And if you're not fully focused on that, you're not going to grow as much as you possibly can. So make sure you are fully focused and attentive to what is going on. So here we go. Number one, we're going to treat this just like an equation. X plus 5 is less than 27. If we're going to solve for x, we need to get x isolated. What is the inverse of adding 5? The inverse of adding 5 is subtracting 5. So we subtract 5 from both sides, just like you've been doing. 5 minus 5 is 0. We're left with just x is greater than, what's 23 minus 5? 18. Okay. There is our solution. X is greater than 18. Now over to the right, we have three different ways to represent this. The first is inequality notation, which is what we have right here. X is greater than 18. There is the inequality notation. We can also put this on a graph. Now, when we're going to graph it, we want our variable to be on the left side of our inequality sign. Remember, with inequalities, we have greater than, we have less than, we have greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. So here we are dealing with x is greater than 18. Is the variable on the left side? Yes, it is. So that's good. Let's graph this. Let's get a number line going. Okay. Maybe I can do a better job than that. Hang on. Here's my number line, something like that. Now, look at the number on the right-hand side, 18. 18 is going to be the focal point of this. So let's make 18 in the middle. 18. And then let's go maybe 2 to the right. What would this be? This would be 19. What would this be? 20. All right. And then what would this be? 17 and 16. Please put at least 2 more numbers on there. I don't care if you go by ones or tens or whatever, but put at least 1 more number on there. Okay, x is greater than 18. All right, notice, if x is greater than 18, can 18 make this inequality true? In other words, is 18 greater than 18? Is that true? No, that is not true. So 18 is not included in the solution set. What about 19? Is 19 greater than 18? Yeah, it is. So where is 19 located relative to 18? It's located to the right. What about 18.5? Is 18.5 greater than 18? And yes, it is. So all the greater numbers are going to be to the right, okay? All the less than numbers are going to be to the left. 18 is not included, so the way that we show that 18 is not included is we put an open circle there at 18, and then we shade to the right. You can do it like that. You can do it like this if you want. I'm not going to be a stickler with how you shade. I'm going to do it like this though, okay? There you go. That is x is greater than 18. Now there's a third way we represent this. It's called interval notation. So it helps to look at the graph and then determine what the interval notation is going to be. Put a comma in the middle. We're going to have a number on the left and a number on the right. How high does this go? All right, how high does this go? It goes to the right forever. So have you heard of the term infinity before? Infinity means it goes on forever. There is no end. And this goes to the right forever in the positive direction. So the high end goes on the right side of the comma. This symbol, it's like a sideways 8, right? It is called the infinity symbol. So we're going to the right forever to infinity. Okay. Now infinity is not a location. You do not end up at infinity. You don't go down the number line and say, now I'm at infinity. So infinity is not included in our answer because we can't get there. It's not a destination on the number line. Infinity always gets a parenthesis like this. Okay. Now what's the low end of this? If all the way to the right it goes to infinity, meaning it goes on forever, how far to the left does it go? Well, does it go to 19? Yeah. Does it go further to the left than that? Yeah, it goes to 18. Does it go to 17? No. The furthest to the left it goes is 18. So 18 goes on the left of that comma. 18 is the low end, infinity is the high end. Is 18 included in our solution set? In other words, is 18 greater than 18? Is that true? And no, that's not true. 18 is not greater than 18. So we're going to put a parenthesis around that. And this looks like an ordered pair. I get that. It looks like you're finding a point on the graph in the coordinate plane. That's not what we're doing. I know it looks similar, but there's going to be some other problems where it looks a little different. All right, so that is inequality notation, interval notation, and the graph. Let's do a couple more together before you go off on your own and try some of these. A plus 7 is less than or equal to negative 12. We're going to subtract 7 from both sides. The inverse of adding 7 is subtracting 7. So A is less than or equal to, what is negative 12 minus 7? It's negative 19. A is less than or equal to negative 19. That is going to be our inequality notation. Okay, so let's go to the graph now. Get a number line going. The focal point of this is going to be negative 19. So at the center of our graph, we put negative 19. Let's put 2 tick marks to the right. What is one number to the right of negative 19? It's negative 18. How about another number to the right of negative 19? It's negative 17. What's one number to the left of negative 19? It's going to be negative 20. And how about another one to the left? Negative 21. So there you go. Remember, all your positive numbers to the left, the more negative numbers are to the right. I shouldn't say more negative, but all your negative numbers are going to be to the left. Okay. Negative 19. Is negative 19 included in this? In other words, is 19 less than or equal to negative 19? I messed up on that. Hang on one second. Is negative 19 less than or equal to negative 19? Is this true? That is true. Yes. Negative 19 is less than or equal to, because it is equal to negative 19. So negative 19 is going to be included in our solution set. We're going to put it what we call a closed circle there. Compare this to the previous problem. The previous problem was just greater than, right? X is greater than 18, so we did not have the circle closed in. Here, it's or equal to, meaning negative 19 is included in our solution set, so we have a closed circle there. Now, A is less than or equal to negative 19. Okay, if A is less than negative 19, are we going to be shading to the left or to the right? In other words, are the greater numbers are to the right, but the less than numbers are to the left? So we're going to be shading to the left. And if you're wondering why that is, watch, I'll plug in a couple numbers so you can see. A number to the left. Is negative 21 less than or equal to negative 19? Yes, negative 21, which is included in our solution set, is less than or equal to negative 19. So there you go. What about a number to the right? Let's try 0, right? Is 0, is 0 less than or equal to negative 19? No, it is not. So 0 is not included in the solution set. We need to be shading to the left, not to the right on this one. And again, always make sure your variable is on the left in your inequality notation. It'll make the graphing so much easier. All right, interval notation, we start with think about last time. What did we start with? A comma. A comma. Now remember, with interval notation, the low end is on the left and the high end is on the right. Okay? So we're shading to the left, meaning the low end, how low does this go on the number line? It goes to the left forever. Forever. So you might say, all right, well, that's going to be infinity on the left side of our comma. Because remember, the low end is on the left side of the comma. The high end is on the right side of the comma. Yes, it goes to the left forever, but it's in the negative direction. So we say it goes to negative infinity. Now remember, infinity is not a destination. It's not somewhere you get to on the number line. You don't get to a number and say, now I'm at negative infinity. That's not the way it works. It's an idea. We go on forever in that direction. So this gets an open interval, a parenthesis. Okay? Now, how high does this go? In other words, how far to the right does our graph go? Well, it goes all the way till it gets to negative 19, and it doesn't go any higher than negative 19. It doesn't go to negative 17, doesn't go to 0, doesn't go to 100. The furthest point to the right, the highest number for this graph is negative 19. Okay? Is negative 19 included in this solution? Yes or no? Well, see how it's bubbled in there? It is included. So instead of putting parentheses around negative 19 like we did on the previous problem, we're going to put what's called a bracket. All right? This bracket indicates that negative 19 is included in our solution. Compare that to the previous problem where 18 was not included in our solution. When it's not included, when it's open, we get a parenthesis. When it is included, when it's bubbled in, we get a bracket. Okay? Let's try one more together. Negative 6 plus x is greater than or equal to negative 27. All right? We're trying to get x isolated. What is the inverse of negative 6? The inverse of negative 6 is positive 6. So we're going to add 6 to both sides. Plus 6 and plus 6. Negative 6 plus 6 is 0. We're left with just x on the left-hand side. It's greater than or equal to negative 21 plus 6. Think about this. Which number is further from 0? Negative 21 is. So we know this sum is going to be negative. How far is 27 from 6? In other words, what's 27 minus 6? They're 21 apart. So x is greater than or equal to negative 21. That is our inequality notation. We always want our variable on the left, and it is on the left. So x is greater than or equal to negative 21. Pause the video now, see if you can do the graph and the interval notation on your own on this. And if you can't, that's okay, but pause the video now and give it a shot. All right, so we get our graph going here. Everything centers around negative 21. Think about if it's going to be an open circle or a closed circle while I fill out the graph here. Well, it's or equal to, right? X is greater than or equal to negative 21, meaning negative 21 is greater than or equal to negative 21. So yes, negative 21 is included in the solution set. So at negative 21, we're going to put a closed circle. All you have to do is look for, is it or equal to or not? So like the first one we did, it was just x is greater than 18, open circle. The second one, a is less than or equal to negative 19, or equal to, closed circle. This one, x is greater than or equal to negative 21, closed circle. So there you go. Now, x is greater than or equal to. Now, all the greater than numbers are going to be to the right, so we are going to shade to the right. So it looks like that. Now, for the interval notation, we start with a comma. This is shading to the right, meaning the high end, it goes on to the right forever. The high end is infinity. It goes to the right forever, so the high end is infinity. Infinity always gets a parenthesis. It's always an open interval. The low end is negative 21. Our graph does not go further to the left than negative 21. So negative 21 is going to be the low end. Now think about, do we get a bracket here or do we get a parenthesis? It's a closed circle, meaning negative 21 is included in the solution, so we get a bracket. Closed circles get brackets like you saw in the previous problem. Negative 19 got a bracket. Open circles get parentheses. Okay. All right, if you think you have the hang of this, please make sure that the variable is always on the left side of your inequality sign, but go and give it a shot. If you know how to do these, if you are still very shaky, feel free to keep watching. I'm going to be talking through every problem, but make sure you check your answers. You don't have to watch the entire video, but anything you missed, I do want you to watch those particular problems so you can see how you did. So there are a total of 16 problems on here. They start going pretty quick once you understand what's going on. So 4 through 16, try them out on your own now, but refer back to the video as needed and be sure to check your answers as well. All right. Number 4, a minus 8 is less than or equal to negative 27. We're going to add 8 to both sides, plus 8 and plus 8. So a is less than negative 27 plus 8. That's negative 17. So a is less than negative 17. That is our inequality notation on the graph. Okay, negative 17. This is negative 16. This is negative 15. This is negative 18. This is negative 19. Do we have an open or a closed circle at negative 17? Well, it's less than. It's not less than or equal to. It's just less than. We have an open circle at negative 17. Our variable is on the left, so that's good. If it's less than, all the less than numbers are to the left. So these numbers to the left are all the numbers less than negative 17. Interval notation, start with your comma. We shaded to the left, meaning it goes to the left forever. The low end is negative infinity. If you put infinity, get in the habit of when you're going to the negative direction, calling out negative infinity. Infinity always gets an open interval, gets a parenthesis every time. Negative 17, that's as high as this goes. It doesn't go any further to the right than negative 17. So negative 17, and that's an open circle. So we get, is it a bracket or a parenthesis? A parenthesis. There you go. Let's try number 5. Number 5, negative 3 plus x is less than negative 82. What's the inverse of negative 3? We need to add 3. Negative 3 plus 3 is 0. We're left with just x. Remember to add 3 to both sides, though. Negative 82 plus 3 is negative 79. All right, so there you go. That's our inequality notation. X is less than negative 79. All right, so on our graph, everything is going to center around negative 79. So that's negative 78. That's negative 77. That's negative 80, that's negative 81. Open or a closed circle at negative 79. What do you think? That's going to be an open circle at negative 79, right? It's less than. It's not less than or equal to. If it were or equal to, it would be a closed circle. So if x is less than negative 79, the variable's on the left. That's good. Everything less than negative 79 is going to be shaded in this direction. There you go. The interval notation, start with the comma. We shade it to the left, meaning the low end is all the way to the left, which is negative infinity. Infinity always gets a parenthesis. It's always an open interval because infinity is not a destination. It's not a place you can be at. It's more of a concept or an idea. Negative 79 is the high end. All right, is negative 79 included in this? And the answer is no. It's an open circle, so it gets the parenthesis. Next one. Okay, this is a little different. 12 minus negative 12. This is the same thing as 12 plus 12. That's greater than b. What is 12 plus 12? It's 24. 24 is greater than b. Now, remember we said earlier we want the variable on the left side? Right now it's on the right side, so we've got to change that. Think about this. Think about if I've got 4 is less than 5. Is that true? Is 4 less than 5? Yes, that is true. Well, what if I want to flip-flop this around? 5 and 4. Is this true now? Is 5 less than 4? No, it's not true. So if I flip-flop 4 and 5, like I did here, it will stay true if I flip my sign as well. So 5 is greater than 4. And we could do the same thing here with b. All right, so we can put b on the left side. 24 on the right side, and then change your sign. So there you go. I will take this as an answer. That is absolutely correct. But when it comes to graph, having the variable on the left will make graphing so much easier. It can still be done, but you have to kind of think about things in a backwards sort of way. But once you get b on the left, your variable on the left, and the numerical value on the right, the graphing is not bad. Okay, so here we are at 24. Everything is going to center around 24 here. B is less than 24. Open or a closed circle at 24. Open circle, meaning everything right up to 24 is included, but not 24. So B is less than 24. All the numbers that are less than are to the left. So we shade to the left like this. Comma for the interval notation. All right, we are shading to the left, meaning it goes to the left forever. So the low end is negative infinity. Infinity always gets a parenthesis, which makes the high end 24. So 24 goes on the right side of the comma. Parenthesis or bracket, what do you think? Well, it's an open circle, meaning 24 is not included. It is a parenthesis. So just to be clear, what does this mean? It means every number right up next to 24 is in our solution set. So 22 is, 23 is, 23.8, 23.9, 23.99999 is included. Everything right up next to 24. Next one, x plus negative 9. Again, if you understand this, please work this out on your own, but check your answers once you're finished and watch this on the problems that you missed. X plus negative 9, we want to get x by itself. So what's the inverse of adding negative 9? Just adding 9. We add 9 to both sides. X is less than or equal to. Negative 22 plus 9 is negative 13. So x is less than or equal to negative 13. That is our inequality notation. Our variable is on the left side. We now go to graph this. Negative 13, negative 12, negative 11, negative 14, negative 15. Everything centers around negative 13. Open or closed circle. It's a closed circle because x is less than or equal to there's a key word. Less than, meaning we're going to shade to the left. Less than or equal to is going to be shading to the left like this. Okay, interval notation. We start with our comma. We shade it to the left, meaning it goes to the left forever. That's the negative infinity direction. Infinity always gets a parenthesis. The high end is negative 13. And it's a closed circle, meaning negative 13 is included in our solution set. So we have a bracket around negative 13. Number 8, let's simplify this first. G minus negative 3 is going to be G plus 3 is greater than or equal to negative 31. We're going to subtract 3 from both sides, minus 3 minus 3. G is greater than or equal to, what is negative 31 minus 3? Negative 34. Negative 34 there. So G is greater than or equal to negative 34. Our graph, everything is going to center around negative 34. So that's negative 33, negative 32, negative 35, negative 36. Open or closed circle at negative 34. Closed circle, right? It's G is greater than or equal to. That or equal to there is a key word. All right, now G is greater than. All the greater than numbers are to the right. So we shade to the right. Okay. Interval notation, start with your comma. How far, or where does our arrow go? Our arrow is pointing to the right, meaning it goes to the right forever. So our high end is infinity. If it goes to the right forever, the high end is infinity. Infinity always gets a parenthesis. What's the low end? Well, negative 34 is the low end. It doesn't go further to the left than negative 34. Closed circle, so we get a parenthesis or a bracket? A bracket. There you go. Number 9. Okay, x minus negative 5 is greater than 12. If we're subtracting a negative, what do we have to do? we have to add. So x plus 5 is greater than 12. We are going to subtract 5 from the left and the right. So we get x is greater than, what's 12 minus 5? 7. X is greater than 7. The variable's on the left. That's good. We don't have to shift it around. 7 is our focal point. 8, 9, 6, 5. Open or close circle at 7. X is greater than, so we get an open circle. All right, if x is greater than, do we shade left or right? Greater than. All the greater than numbers are to the right. So we shade to the right like that. Interval notation, comma goes in the middle. If we shade to the right forever, that means the high end is infinity. And we get a parenthesis around infinity. Always a parenthesis around infinity. 7 must then be the low end. Our graph does not go further to the left than 7, so 7 is the low end of the graph. And open or closed circle, it's open, so we get a parenthesis or a bracket, parenthesis. There we go. I hope you're making the connection between the sign, meaning whether it's equal to or not, less than or equal to, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, the open or closed circle, and the parenthesis or the bracket. Number 10, a plus negative 45 is less than negative 52. What's the inverse of adding negative 45? Adding 45, right? Negative 45 plus 45 is 0. We're going to add 45 on the right side. Ooh. Add 45 on the right side as well. So we get a is less than, what is negative 52 plus 45? Negative 7. A is less than negative 7. That's our inequality notation. A is less than negative 7. Here's our graph. Oop. Our focal point is going to be at negative 7. So that's negative 6, negative 5, negative 8, negative 9. At negative 7, open or closed circle? Open circle. A is less than negative 7, so shading to the left. There you go. Parenthesis for the interval notation. If we go to the left forever, the low end is negative infinity. Infinity always gets a parenthesis, which means the high end, how far to the right does this graph go? It goes to negative 7. Is negative 7 included in our solution? No, it is not. So negative 7 gets a parenthesis there. All right. I hope you are working these on your own at this point. I understand you might need the video for some assistance or to help check your answer, but I hope you are working these on your own at this point. Let's keep going. Number 11, negative 13 is greater than y plus negative 42. What's the inverse of adding negative 42? Just adding 42. Negative 42 plus 42 is 0. We're left with y. We have to add 42 on the left side too, though. Which number is further from 0, negative 13 or positive 42? Positive 42 is, so we know this is going to be positive. How far away is 42 and 13? In other words, what's 42 minus 13? It's 29. So 29 is greater than y. All right, now another situation where our variable is on the right. We want to rewrite this so the variable is on the left. We can do that, but we have to swap the sign. So that's the same thing as y is less than 29. That's our inequality notation. Y is less than 29. Again, I would take either of these. Either of these would be okay, but I want you to get in the habit of writing it so the variable is on the left. Let's graph it. 29 is our focal point. Here is 20. Oh, well, hang on. It's going to be 30, and then 31. It's going to be 28 and 27. Open or closed circle around 29. Open circle at 29. Do we shade left or right? If it's less than, we shade to the left. Excuse me. Shade to the left. All right. Interval notation. Comma in the middle. 29. Is that the high point or low point? Well, let's go to the arrow first. If the arrow is shading to the left, that means it goes to the left forever. That's the low end. The low end is negative infinity. Infinity always gets a parenthesis, which means 29 must be the high end. This graph does not go further to the right than 29. So 29 is here, and it gets a parenthesis too. Open circles get parentheses. They are not included in the solution set. Number 12, q plus negative 61. What's the inverse of adding negative 61? Just adding 61, right? Negative 61 plus 61 is 0. We're left with just q is greater than. We have to add 61 to the right side as well, though. 1 plus 61 is 62. So q is greater than 62. There's your inequality notation. The graph. 62 is in the middle. That's our focal point. 63, 64, 61, 60. Open or close circle at 62. Open circle at 62. Q is greater than 62, so we shade to the right. All the greater than numbers are to the right, right? Interval notation, comma in the middle. This is shading to the right, which means it goes to the right forever. The high end is infinity. Infinity always gets a parenthesis, which means the low end must be 62, right? This doesn't go any lower than 62, so we get a parenthesis around 62. 13, x plus negative 15. What's the inverse of adding negative 15? Just adding 15, so plus 15 on both sides. Negative 15 plus 15 is 0. We're left with x is greater than, what's negative 28 plus 15? Negative 13. X is greater than negative 13 there. That's our inequality notation. The variables on the left, that's good because it makes our graphing a lot easier. Negative 13, negative 12, negative 11, negative 14, and negative 15. All right. Open or close circle around negative 13. Well, so x is greater than, not greater than or equal to, so open circle around 13. If x is greater than, all the greater than numbers are to the right, so we shade to the right. Comma in the middle. If we shade to the right, it means it goes to the right forever, okay? So the high end is infinity. Infinity always gets a parenthesis. The low end, this graph doesn't go further to the left than negative 13. Okay, it's an open circle. So we have a parenthesis instead of a bracket. Negative 13 is not included in our solution set. 14, we're almost done. P minus negative 13, we need to simplify this to be P plus 13, is greater than or equal to negative 31. What is the inverse of adding 13? Subtracting 13. So we subtract 13 from both sides, and we get P is greater than or equal to, what's negative 31 minus 13? Negative 44. Okay? The variable is on the left side. That is good. Interval notation, we'll get to that in a second. Let's first graph this. In the middle, we have negative 44. So that's negative 43, negative 42, negative 45, negative 46. P is greater than or equal to, meaning we have a closed circle at negative 44. Greater than or equal to, we're going to shade to the right. Shade to the right. Comma in the middle for our interval notation. If we go to the right forever, if we shade it to the right forever, the high end, right, all the greater than numbers are to the right, the high end is infinity. Infinity always gets a parenthesis, an open interval. The low end is negative 44. We don't go any lower, any further to the left than negative 44. Open or closed circle? Closed circle. So do we have a parenthesis or a bracket? Bracket. There you go. Negative 44 is included in the solution set. Number 15, q plus negative 15. What's the, did we already do this one? I think, yeah, we already did this one. It was an x instead of a q. We did that one already. Last one, number 16. Negative 13 is greater than or equal to p minus 31. What's the inverse of subtracting 31? Adding 31. Plus 31, plus 31. Negative 13 plus 31. All right, which number is further from 0? 31 is, so we know this is going to be a positive sum. How far apart is 31 and 13? They're 18 apart. 18 is greater than or equal to p. Okay, we have that situation again where the variable is on the right. We can flip these. So the variable is on the left, but we need to flip our sign as well. So it's p is less than or equal to 18. There you go. Again, I would take either of these, but get your variable on the left so that when you go to graph, it's a lot more manageable. Excuse me. All right, so our graph is going to focus around 18. That's 19, that's 20, that's 17, that's 16. Open or close circle at 18. Well, it's or equal to, right? P is less than or equal to, so close circle at 18. Less than or equal to, we're going to shade to the left. Shade to the left. Interval notation, comma first. If we're shading to the left, the low end, it goes to the left forever, the low end is negative infinity. Negative infinity always gets a parenthesis. All the infinities get parentheses. It's always an open interval. 18 is going to be the high end. It doesn't go further to the right than 18, so 18 goes on the right side of our comma. And then parenthesis or a bracket. It's a closed circle, so we put a bracket. There you go. All right, very good. That is the end of this. Good luck on your homework assignment tonight. Please follow the directions that are written in OneNote. Take care.